What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. Here today we're going to be looking again with another episode of the build guide with the 2011 Lamborghini Sesto Elemento Forza edition. Now the question at hand is, why are we looking at this vehicle again? Well, we're going to try to build a drift build as a viewer recommended in the comment section below. So if you ever have any recommendations, whether it be any type of drift builds, off-roading builds, you name it, let's go ahead and build it. Let's see what it looks like. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the video. And I just want to quickly point out that I am getting over COVID, so I may sound a little funny. So there's two really big factors to consider when you're looking at the Sesto Elemento Forza edition and trying to make it drift. And that being its tires, and if it's all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, that'll make a big difference. So with the tires, we'll just make it plain and simple. You need to add drifting tires, and the reason why is considering that this thing is so grippy that if you don't, you virtually have to e-brake it in each version, which you already do have to do, but you pretty much have to use an e-brake if you don't have drifting tires. So I would recommend just go ahead and slap on some drifting tires, make the tires a little bit warmer, and be able to drift a lot easier. Now, all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive, and this is kind of a weird one. It's very opposite to how I would operate. Normally I would make most, if not all, vehicles all-wheel drive, but this is not really the case here. So if we look at the all-wheel drive build, you really have to tune it a lot more, and I'm not going to show the tuning or anything, but you need to know that you have to tune it a lot more in terms of the differential, in terms of the transmission, in terms of the oversteering and understeering. You really have to have that balance correct. You can't let it oversteer, but you also can't let it understeer. It's a very fine balance, considering too that even with drifting tires, it tends to grip the road quite well. On the other hand, as we'll show gameplay here, the rear-wheel drive is much easier to control in terms of a drift. You don't have to use the e-brake as much. You can just go around on the track or road or whatnot and flip the tail and be able to drift pretty easily. You do still have to use the e-brake every once in a while, and I use it quite frequently still, but it's much easier and it's much more natural to go rear-wheel drive. So the question at B is the Lamborghini Sesto Elemento Forza edition meant to drift? And the answer to that is no. It can if you want to build a drifting build and you have a bunch of them like I do. I have 4 of them. But if you only have one of them, what I would do is I would just go ahead and do the Racing V12 build that I did in my last build guide for this, and I just stick with that. Now, both of these are using the Racing V12. You can test them out with the stock engine as well, but I think that the solution or the answers would be similar in terms of rear-wheel drive is going to serve you a better time and easier time drifting on this particular build. With the all-wheel drive, it's kind of a little bit like the Unicorn V2, but not really. Much harder to drift, because it's so grippy to the road. So overall, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the build guide. It's a little bit different than what we're used to, but a viewer sent this in and I thought that, hey, let's go ahead and check this out. So if you have any more recommendations, feel free to put them in the comments section below, and I'll try to get it to as soon as possible. There's some videos I have planned that I need to be doing, but without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Thank you.